Welcome to another explainer. Today, we're going to break down the incredible science and biomechanics behind something we've all marveled at, Cristiano Ronaldo's legendary leaping ability. We've all seen the highlight reels, right? But today, we're actually unpacking the exact step-by-step mechanics that make his literal flight possible. So let's start with the question that's probably crossed your mind when you watch him just effortlessly float above the pitch. You see a player jump that high, hang in the air, and just completely overpower defenders. And your gut reaction is, okay, the rules of gravity simply don't apply to this guy. But does he actually defy physics? Because when he takes flight, honestly, it feels like pure magic. It genuinely looks like time just slows right down. The crowd goes completely silent in anticipation, and these massive defenders, who are often way taller than him, are just left helplessly planted on the grass beneath him. It's breathtaking. But we're going to look at the hard science that makes this seemingly impossible moment a reality. Because spoiler alert, it's not magic at all. All right, Section 1, the superhuman jump myth. Let's bust this right now. The secret actually starts way down on the ground, long before he's even in the air. Because every powerful jump relies on basic, fundamental physics. Specifically, we're talking about Newton's third law of motion. You know the one. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. In simple, everyday terms, the more force you slam down into the dirt, the more lift the ground is going to give you right back. Think of it like bouncing a basketball on your driveway, right? If you just drop the ball lightly, it barely comes back up. But if you slam that ball down with everything you've got, it rockets back up into the air. Ronaldo is essentially doing exactly that, but with his entire body. He pushes forcefully off the grass with an insane amount of downward power, just to generate that massive upward bounce. Moving on to Section 2, liftoff, or what we'll call the elevator launch. To slam that kind of force into the ground, you need some serious hardware. Ronaldo doesn't just casually jump. His elite training has built an incredible biological engine using 3 specific muscle groups to explode upward. You've got his quads providing this massive base of power, his calves acting like a tightly coiled spring, and then his glutes delivering that explosive final lift. These 3 firing together perfectly, that's what rockets him into the sky. So the crucial point here is that this biological muscle power creates what scientists call high vertical velocity. Basically, this just means he is literally leaving the ground much, much faster than most players. It's not a normal jump. He's shooting up, perfectly mirroring a high-speed elevator launch. He hits his maximum height incredibly fast. Which brings us to Section 3, the hang time illusion. This is where the magic really happens. Let's break down this whole illusion, because once he leaves the ground, gravity is always pulling him down. It never, ever turns off. But because his upward velocity is so incredibly fast to begin with, there's this tiny microscopic moment at the very peak of the jump where his upward momentum perfectly cancels out gravity's downward pull. For a fraction of a second, his vertical speed literally becomes 0. Think about throwing a baseball straight up into the air. It travels fast on the way up, slows down, and then, for a split second, right at the very top, it just kind of hovers before it starts falling back down to earth, right? Well, that hovering baseball is exactly what Ronaldo is doing at the peak of his jump. He creates such a massive initial launch that his hover point is way higher than anyone else's, and it lasts just a tiny fraction longer. That's what creates the illusion of hang time. But here's the thing. Reaching that peak is completely useless without the right timing. He studies the ball's path in real time to meet it precisely at that hovering point. And that requires elite anticipation, blazing reaction speed, and absolutely insane neuromuscular coordination. If he jumps even a tenth of a second too early or too late, he completely misses that zero-gravity sweet spot, and the power of his header is totally ruined. All right, Section 4, mid-air body control. You know how most average players kind of lose their coordination the second their feet leave the ground, just sort of flailing their arms and legs? Well, Ronaldo uses a concept called angular control in motion. By clenching his intensely strong core, he completely stabilizes his lower body. This rock-solid core allows him to twist his torso independently, aim accurately, and generate a terrifying amount of power into the ball, all while completely suspended in midair. If you want a really great visual for this, just think of a falling cat. Seriously, just like a cat twists its body midair to make sure it lands perfectly on its feet, Ronaldo uses that exact same core stability to adjust his angle midair.
He aims his body like a coiled spring, transferring all that pent-up kinetic energy directly to his target, the football.
Finally, let's look at Section 5. How do you compare? This really puts the whole thing into perspective. Your average professional footballer jumps somewhere between 40 to 60 centimeters off the ground, which, is totally respectable. An elite athlete hits around the 70-centimeter mark, but Ronaldo, he effortlessly hits that 70-centimeter elite height and then just supercharges it. Because the real difference isn't just the raw height. No, it's stacking that 70-centimeter launch with the flawless timing and that crazy core control we just talked about. So, what's the big takeaway from all this? Well, while it looks like magic, Ronaldo absolutely does not defy gravity. But he does understand and manipulate it better than almost anyone else alive. He combines Newton's laws of physics, pure biomechanical muscle power, thousands of hours of elite training, and absolute perfect timing. And when these four elements combine, it honestly doesn't even look like sport anymore. It looks like science breaking limits. Ultimately, what looks to us like an impossible superpower is actually just a beautifully engineered combination of science and brutal hard work. Because talent might get you onto the pitch, sure. But to hover in the air while an entire stadium holds its breath, that kind of greatness is engineered from the ground up through pure mechanics. So I'm going to leave you with this to think about. Pay attention to your own physical movements today, whether you're playing a sport or, just bounding up the stairs. Next time you jump, how much downward force can you engineer to create your own upward greatness? Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep asking questions, and I'll catch you on the next one.